Discover the incredible truth, 5 life-changing steps to embrace your unique dreams. Sam was a mechanic, but he was so much more. He was the heart of his family, the man of the house since he was just a kid. After losing his father, a proud veteran who had served his country and respected by neighbors, Sam never hung up his tools. He wore them like armor, knowing his sick mother and younger sister depended on him. But tucked away behind those grease-stained hands was a dream, a soaring aspiration to design the cars he tinkered with daily. Every rattle and hum of the engines he fixed ignited something deep inside him, a flickering flame overshadowed by responsibilities that felt heavier each day. In this quaint Midwestern town, economic opportunities seemed locked tight, like rusty bolts. You worked hard, day in and day out, but getting ahead felt like trying to climb a mountain made of molasses. Sam loved the community, but frustration reigned. People were stuck in jobs they hated, dreams buried under layers of tradition and expectation. And today was a day like no other. Tension crackled in the local auto shop as Sam faced off against Mike, his childhood best friend, now cozying up to a rival company. "You're selling out," Sam shouted, fists clenched, the words bursting from him with painful intensity. Those words rippled in the small shop, wounding their friendship and revealing the unspoken frustrations that lay beneath the surface of their lives. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Strapped down by loyalty and his community's expectations, Sam felt a wave of darkness swallowing his courage. Yet, hope flickered when he stumbled into a community meeting. They were revitalizing the main street, his old playground of dreams. His concept for an art installation that celebrated local heritage surged forth with fervor only he could feel. But when he unveiled it, the laughter pierced through him. Jabs about foolish dreams landed like blows, and he felt the weight of every failed expectation. His heart sank as the ridicule echoed in his ears, but something unexpected happened. The townspeople began to rally around him, drawing from a reservoir of shared hope, the spirit of their small town igniting anew. Sam saw it then, the unity, the potential for change. His mind raced. Could he really challenge the status quo? Could he breathe life into his aspirations despite the fear of judgment? As the presentation date loomed, the stakes felt impossibly high. Standing before that crowd, with every eye trained on him, Sam had to ask himself, could he reshape his dreams without losing the very essence of who he was? The air felt thick with anticipation as he prepared to unveil not just a design, but a part of himself. Mixed emotions swirled around him, doubts clawing at his heart. He swallowed hard, bracing himself to reclaim not just his dreams, but perhaps the future of the town as well. Would they take that leap into the unknown, together? And as he took a deep breath, the question hung heavy in the air: would they follow him into hope, or retreat into familiarity? As the day of the presentation dawned, Sam stood in front of the mirror, his reflection a mix of uncertainty and determination. The sun streamed through the window, illuminating the shop where he spent countless hours. The tools hung like silver ghosts on the walls, whispering stories of hard work and relentless commitment. Sam tightened his grip on the design sketch, his heart a furious drumbeat in his chest. The town hall was buzzing with chatter, a cacophony of familiar faces. Old friends and new neighbors entwined in conversation, but Sam felt like an outsider among them. He could outshine the shadows in a bustling auto shop, but standing in front of all these eyes was different. Each whisper felt like a dagger aimed at his dreams, each frown a stern reminder of the risk he was about to take. With each step to the podium, he felt the weight of expectation on his shoulders. Would they embrace his vision or dismiss it as just another folly? He took a deep breath, his lungs filling with air that felt thick and heavy. The community room dimmed as he cleared his throat, nerves setting in like a shroud. "Thank you for coming," he began, hoping his voice held enough steadiness. Today, I want to share not just a proposal, but a piece of my heart. The words stuck in his throat, but he pressed on, fueled by a desire to inspire and connect. This isn't just about changing the street, it's about changing our outlook, embracing the possibilities of who we can become. We are more than just mechanics and shopkeepers, we can be artists and dreamers. As he unveiled the blueprints, an unfamiliar silence blanketed the crowd. Sam's inked lines twisted and turned into vibrant shapes, evoking the spirit of their town. He described the colors reflecting the sunsets they cherished, the designs honoring their history. But as his voice rose with passion, faint whispers began to hum through the room. Might as well dream big, huh? Someone in the back muttered, chuckles rippling through the gathering. Sam's heart sank, pain laced with their laughter. He fought back tears, but then he locked eyes with a woman in the front row. She was the local librarian, a beacon of hope in his childhood. Her encouraging nod ignited something within him. He addressed the room, gesturing to the sketches. I know what it's like to feel trapped, I live it every day. But isn't it time we dared to dream? Isn't it time we invested in something that could spark joy for all of us? One voice spoke up, weary but fierce. You're right, Sam. We need change. Suddenly, voices joined in, each call weathered yet resonant. Hearts began to mirror his own, rekindling that shared spirit he had once felt. Even Mike stood there, expression thawing. Let us try, Sam. Let us give it a chance. Hope flooded Sam's veins as the group's gathering grew louder, urgency feeding momentum. With every cheer, the walls of hesitation began to crumble, and for the first time, he saw a glimmer of possibility in the eyes of his neighbors. But amidst the uplifting camaraderie, a shadow loomed. Sam sensed unfinished business, the rivalry with Mike still unsolved, an unresolved tension that could threaten their progress. He looked around, realizing that along with every spark of unity, he now had to navigate the complexity of relationships he once took for granted. With every pulse of the crowd, Sam felt the urgency shift. Would he unite his dreams with the town's growing hope, and in doing so, mend the fragile tie with Mike? Or would he falter under the weight of expectation, risking everything for a chance at the impossible? The question hung in the air, testing his resolve. Could he rise to forge a new kind of dream, not just for himself but for everyone? And as the crowd erupted into applause, his heart raced at the thought of what might come next. As applause echoed around him, Sam felt a rush of exhilaration, merging with the raw fear that had gripped him moments before. His dream took flight, buoyed by the voices of others who suddenly found courage in their collective yearning for change. He glanced at Mike, who was still processing the shift in sentiment. There was a spark of something pride, perhaps, in his eyes. It was an unlikely alliance, but here they were, on the brink of something new. All right. All right. The mayor's voice boomed over the crowd, commanding attention. Let us hear it for Sam. A brave step into our future. More cheers erupted, and Sam felt himself swaying with the rhythm, a rhythm that felt like destiny breaking free. As the energy pulsed through the room, Sam seized the moment. Thank you, everyone. He shouted, raising his hands to quiet the cheers. This is just the beginning. We need your voices, your ideas. Together, we can turn these plans into more than sketches on paper. We can bring our community together. A cheer rippled through the crowd, but Sam noticed a few faces still shrouded in doubt. He couldn't ignore them. I know change can be scary. I felt it. But together, we're stronger, and we can embrace that fear and turn it into something beautiful. After the meeting wrapped up, people lingered, voices buzzing with ideas and hopes of their shared future. Sam was swept into the tide, sharing more about his plans, listening to everyone's thoughts. Each voice added a piece to the mosaic of this project. But every time he looked for Mike, he found him a few steps back, still hesitant, a shadow of the friend he had known. Their rivalry hadn't vanished, it lingered as a silent specter, waiting to be addressed. Hey, Sam finally approached him, carving through the crowd. I appreciate what you said up there. It means a lot. Mike crossed his arms, a defensive stance the old Sam would have found familiar. It wasn't easy, you know, standing by and watching you get all the attention. Sam took a deep breath, grounding himself. I know. But this is bigger than either of us. It's about the town. I need you in this, Mike. The tension hung thick between them, but beneath it, there was history, a decade of camaraderie layered with competition. Mike's brow furrowed, the weight of close friendship under siege. It's not that simple, Sam. What if it fails? You're asking a lot. Sam's heart hammered wildly. And what if it works? What if we create something that changes everything? We can't live in what-ifs forever. Let us not risk each other, let us risk together. Mike stared at him, the mix of vulnerability and anger softened by a glimmer of hope. Fine, I'll think about it. The thin line of their friendship flickered brighter. As people dispersed, the feeling of possibility lingered. Sam stood there, grounded in a sudden sense of purpose, eyes scanning the crowd, searching for allies. In the distance, the librarian's nod returned to him, a gentle reminder that even the smallest support mattered, but just as confidence settled in, a figure emerged from the shadows. Louise, the town's skeptical council member. She marched over, arms crossed, expression firm. You think this is going to change anything? You really believe a few sketches are enough? Sam's heart sank, Louise's skepticism struck like cold rain. It's not just sketches. It's a vision, he replied, steeling himself against her stare. She raised an eyebrow, challenging his resolve. Vision's fine, but it needs to be more than just dreams. Can you deliver? Sam felt the weight of her words pressing down, the challenge igniting a fire in his chest. He opened his mouth to respond, but in that moment of uncertainty, he knew he was at a crossroads. Could he prove that his dreams had substance? Or would he crumble under the pressure of skepticism? The room was still buzzing with voices, yet a layer of doubt settled in around him, coiling like smoke. He had lit a spark, but the fire was far from stable. The evening air felt thick with possibilities as Sam left the community center, the clamor of voices fading behind him. He stepped outside, the night sky sprinkled with stars, a reminder of how vast and unknown the journey ahead was. Despite the warmth of acceptance in the room, Louise's words clung to him like wet clothes. Could he actually deliver the change he had promised? Sam! A voice called out, jolting him from his thoughts. Turning, he spotted Hannah, the high school art teacher and one of his earliest supporters. Her face was flushed with excitement. You really inspired everyone tonight. I've never seen so much energy in this town. Sam managed a smile, but it felt fragile. Yeah, I guess. But I still have a lot to prove. Don't sell yourself short. These sketches could ignite real conversation. By the way, I was thinking. What if we organize a workshop? Get people engaged in the art of planning the community spaces. You know, let their creativity flow. Her enthusiasm was infectious. He could feel the slightest flicker of hope reigniting. That could work. It might draw in those who are skeptical. If they see what's possible, they might join in. Exactly. Hannah clapped her hands together, her eyes sparkling. You need to harness the energy from tonight. Let it fuel your next steps. Let us get everyone involved. Sam nodded, the gears turning in his mind. Maybe that was the answer, a chance for everyone to make their voices heard through their creativity. It wasn't just about him leading, it was about the community coming together. As he made his way home, the streets were quiet, almost too quiet for the chaos in his head. He turned over conversations, possibilities, and fears. What if his plans failed? What would that mean for him, for Mike, for the town? But beneath that fear was something else, a carefully nurtured ember of determination. His phone buzzed in his pocket, jarring him from his thoughts. It was a message from Mike. Hey, I've been thinking. How about we meet tomorrow? I want to talk more about this idea you have. Let's grab coffee. Sam's heart raced. This is good, he whispered under his breath, nervousness mixed with excitement. If Mike was willing to step in, maybe it meant their friction could become a force for good. He entered his house, the scent of home wrapping around him. He plopped down on the couch, staring at the design spread across his coffee table. They were just sketches now, but what if they could become something more? What if he could find a way to turn doubt into action, to prove those skeptics wrong? As he pondered, he realized he wasn't just fighting for a project anymore, he was fighting for his belief in himself, in a chance for his town. A charge ran through his veins, igniting the spark again. Suddenly, he stood, brimming with renewed energy. He would set up that workshop. He would take that risk. It was time to gather the voices and the dreams swirling around him, and just then, his phone buzzed again. An alert flashed across the screen: Louise is holding a council meeting next week. Public invited. His pulse quickened. This could be his opportunity to confront her, to show her that these sketches were just the beginning of something monumental. Could he muster enough courage to stand before the council and share his vision? Or would her skepticism snuff out the spark he had been igniting? The weight of the decision loomed large, and in that moment, he knew his journey was only just beginning. Would he rise to the challenge? Or would fear hold him back once again? The next morning, sunlight spilled into Sam's kitchen, brightening the corners where shadows usually lurked. It felt like a sign. He brewed a pot of coffee, hoping the rich aroma would soothe his racing thoughts. As he sipped, he thought of the workshop. That's where it all could start, an open canvas for the town to draw on. After a quick shower, he pulled on a worn t-shirt and jeans, eager to get moving. He whipped out his sketches, laying them out on the table. Each line and curve spoke of possibilities waiting to be explored. He knew he'd need to present them with confidence. Sure, there were countless voices in his head whispering doubts, but today he wouldn't let them win. When he reached the cafe where Mike had suggested they meet, the small bell above the door jingled as he stepped inside. The warm scent of baked goods wrapped around him. Mike was already there, sitting at a corner table, a steaming coffee cup in front of him. "You're early," Mike greeted, his smile brightening the dull morning. "I'm trying to get settled before this." Sam waved a hand, motioning to the sketches tucked safely in his backpack. "Before everything really starts." "Good idea," Mike replied, eyeing Sam with curiosity. "So, what's the plan?" Taking a deep breath, Sam pulled out the sketches and spread them across the table. Mike leaned forward, studying them closely. There was a pause, filled with the hum of cafe chatter and clinking mugs. "Wow," Mike finally said, looking up, eyes wide. "These are great. They capture so much potential." Sam felt a surge of pride washing over him. "Thanks. I was thinking of hosting a workshop. Get the community involved in redesigning our shared spaces. If people see what we can create together, maybe we can change some minds. Even Louise's." Mike nodded, a thoughtful look on his face. "This is going to take some serious effort. Do you think you can rally everyone?" "I have to. I'm tired of hearing that nothing can change. They need to see that we can all be part of this," Sam replied, his voice steady. Inside, however, doubt began to creep in. Could he really carry this initiative for everyone? They discussed logistics, brainstorming ways to engage local artists, families, and those usually resistant to change. The excitement in Mike's voice was infectious. Each idea Sam shared ignited a flame of purpose within him. They even mapped out a plan to present it at the next council meeting, dreams transforming into action right before their eyes. After an hour, they wrapped up, and as they stood outside the cafe, a wave of nervousness hit Sam. What if no one shows up to the workshop? What if Louise shoots down our ideas? Mike clapped him on the back, grounding him. "You have to believe in what you're doing. This isn't just for you, it's for everyone. Remember the energy from last night. Use that. It's a start." Sam nodded, hoping to borrow a fragment of Mike's confidence. Later that day, Sam created a social media event for the workshop, pouring his heart into the message. He wanted people to feel his passion, to see that their input mattered. Hitting post, he felt a tremor of fear but also the thrill of possibility. Later that night, the weight of the council meeting loomed on his mind. Engaging with his community felt daunting, but in those moments of inspiration, he could visualize success. What if he harnessed that steady flame, allowing it to burn bright in front of the council? Would they embrace his vision, or would they extinguish everything he had built? The phone buzzed again. This time, it was Louise, responding to the event invite. Looking forward to hearing your ideas, Sam. His heart raced. Did that mean she was actually open to hearing him out? Did she recognize the change brewing in their town? As anticipation bubbled within him, Sam realized this was it. His chance, his moment. Soon, he would stand before those skeptical eyes, with not just sketches, but a community ready to voice their dreams. But would he find the courage to soar, or would he falter under the weight of expectations? The day of the council meeting arrived, heavy with promise and anxiety. Sam stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his collar, only to let out a frustrated sigh. A simple outfit felt too much for what was at stake. The reflection staring back at him felt foreign, stripped of the fervor he had felt just days earlier. Deep breaths, he told himself. You've got this. As he made his way to the town hall, he could feel the weight of every step, each one echoing the doubts swirling in his head. What if no one took him seriously? What if the community didn't see the potential he saw? The streets, usually familiar and comforting, suddenly felt like a vast sea of judgment. Upon arriving, he was surprised to find a group of locals gathered around the main entrance, chatting eagerly. Some faces looked familiar, others were new. It was comforting to see people ready to engage, but his stomach twisted at the same time. He had hoped for this turnout, but now he was faced with a daunting audience. Sam! Over here! Mike waved him over, his enthusiasm a beacon of hope. Look at this crowd. They're all excited. Are they? Sam replied, unsure. Or are they just curious? Same difference. Mike chuckled, clapping him on the shoulder. You're prepared, right? Just remember why you're doing this. Nodding, Sam took a deep breath. Inside, he felt a flicker of conviction. Perhaps he hadn't come this far just to let the fear win. As the council meeting commenced, the room pulsated with energy. Sam sat near the front, gripping his sketches tightly. The council members, including Louise, sat on an elevated platform, their expressions unreadable. When the moment came for public comments, Sam's heart raced. Mike's whispered encouragement echoed in his mind. You can do this. He remembered, taking a stand, Sam introduced himself, his voice steady but laced with nerves. The sketches, vibrant with life and potential, sat before him like a gateway to change. As he explained his vision, how transforming their shared spaces could revitalize community spirit, he poured everything into those words. He spoke of collaboration, art, and dreams interwoven into the fabric of their lives. Imagine, he continued, glancing at familiar faces, a park where kids can play without worry, spaces where art bridges generations, and neighborhoods that reflect who we truly are as a town. For a moment, silence enveloped the room. Sam could see some faces brighten, others furrow deeply in thought. But then, Louise's skeptical voice cut through. You think a workshop will magically solve our problems, Sam? A hush fell over the crowd. Sam felt heat rise to his cheeks. He didn't have all the answers, but he believed in the potential of every person there. It's not magic, Louise, he replied, heart pounding. It's about bringing everyone together to share ideas, to create together. We all have a stake in this. We can't just sit back and assume no change is possible. Just as he finished, a voice from the crowd chimed in, I'm willing to help. More voices followed, expressing interest and support. Sam couldn't believe it. They were rallying around his idea, and soon a wave of excitement seemed to flow through the room. But even as he savored a moment of triumph, he sensed Louise's relentless gaze. There was still something about her reaction that felt unsettled. "Sam," she said slowly, "before we move forward, there's a lot more to consider than just artwork and opinions." His heart dropped. What else was lurking behind that steady stare? As applause rippled around him, the applause couldn't silence the uncertainty swelling within. What awaited him next? Would the council ultimately support his dream, or was there an obstacle, deeper and darker than he had anticipated, lying in wait? Louise's words hung in the air like a storm cloud. While the audience buzzed with newfound enthusiasm, Sam felt that familiar tightening in his chest. What more could there be? He steadied himself, forcing a breath as he searched Louise's eyes for clues. There was history there, a weight of experience that silenced much of the crowd's excitement. "Let us not get ahead of ourselves," she continued, her tone now steadfast. "You all have ideas, but do you understand the obstacles we face? Funding, logistics, community needs." "Right." Mike jumped in, echoing the optimism that coursed through the crowd. "But it's not just about obstacles, it's about opportunities. If we don't try, how will we know what's possible?" As voices rose in agreement, Sam felt a swell of support bounce back at him. Encouraged, he decided to seize the moment. "Exactly. Louise, what if we started small? A pilot project, maybe? Something that can show tangible results. We just need to light the spark. And risk more of our town's funds on an idea. It's not as easy as you make it sound." Louise's brow furrowed deeper, her skepticism unwavering. "I've seen projects like this fail. I've seen communities torn apart when grand plans don't thrive." Something in her voice pierced through Sam. The sincerity of her fears resonated with him. He wanted to believe it could work, but he couldn't ignore that hesitation. Emotions simmered in the room: hope, worry, ambition, and doubt tangled together like vines. "So what do we do?" someone from the back voiced, barely audible over the chatter. "Do we let fear keep us from trying?" The question hung there, heavy and raw. Sam felt heat on his face as he looked around at the faces hopeful with longing. What was the right answer here? He took another deep breath, his heart racing. "Let us create a committee," he suggested, the words flowing out before he overthought them. "A mix of council members and community volunteers. We can brainstorm, break down the barriers, and see what's feasible together." Louise blinked, seemingly caught off guard. She hesitated, weighing his idea against the countless challenges she had faced throughout her tenure. "A committee," she repeated, her tone softening slightly. "That actually could be useful, if managed properly. And I'll be on it," shouted the same voice from earlier, instantly met with nods and murmurs of agreement. "Yes. Let us do this," Mike added, enthusiasm synthesized in each person around them. The energy in the room shifted, uncertainty warring with an urge to reach for something greater. Slowly, Louise's demeanor softened further, the walls hardened by experience beginning to crack. "I'll support this initiative," she finally said, though her voice retained a cautious edge. "But you all need to understand the realities we face. It'll take hard work and collaboration." Sam swelled with relief, but still, unease simmered beneath his skin. Was this truly a victory? Or was it merely a permission slip to tread into deeper waters? With all the voices merging together in chatter, he couldn't shake the feeling that lurking shadows had yet to be exposed. "Let us meet again next week," Louise stated, more firmly now. "Draft a proposal, lay the groundwork. Sam, you'll lead it." The room erupted in agreement, but share that weight? He glanced at Mike and the growing group of supporters, their faces lit with resolve. Deep inside, Sam felt a flicker of hope. As the crowd began to disperse, a knot hung in his gut. What obstacles would they unearth? What pushback might come from unexpected corners? In this moment of fleeting triumph, he couldn't ignore the sense of looming challenges ahead. Moving forward, would the committee galvanize the community, or would it be a stepping stone into complicated waters? Sam clenched his fists, determination mixing with anxiety. Because deep down, he knew they were just at the beginning. What was really waiting for them in the shadows? Sam left the meeting feeling a mix of exhilaration and dread. The energy of the crowd had swelled like a rising tide, but beneath that wave, he felt the current of uncertainty doubts that threatened to pull him under. The idea of leading the committee was thrilling, yet the burden of responsibility loomed large as he stepped out into the cool evening air, inhaling the sense of wet earth and new beginnings. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the town square. People mingled, laughter ringing out, but Sam felt like an outsider half-rooted in cheer, half-buried in worry. "Hey, you all right?" Mike caught up to him, breathless and brimming with enthusiasm. Today was a big win. Can you believe how everyone rallied around the idea? "Yeah, it's exciting," Sam replied, forcing his voice to match Mike's energy. "But I can't shake the feeling that we're just scratching the surface." "What do you mean?" Mike tilted his head, concern flickering across his face. "We'll figure it out as we go. That's the beauty of it, right? Beauty or chaos?" Sam murmured, rubbing the back of his neck. "What if we go down a path that leads to nowhere? What if we argue and lose faith? We can't let this become a burden on the town." "Sam, stop worrying. You're overthinking it. This is our chance to make a change." Mike's eyes sparkled with determination. "And besides, you're a great leader. Trust yourself." Trust. The word echoed uncomfortably in Sam's mind. He had always felt more comfortable in the background supporting others rather than being in the spotlight. Was he ready to take the reins of something so pivotal? "I don't know," he began, but Mike cut him off. "Look, why don't we grab a coffee? We can brainstorm together. You know, lay out our ideas for the committee, iron out the fears before they fester." Sam sighed, a small smile tugging at his lips. "Coffee sounds good." As they walked to the local cafe, the lingering evening light painted the sidewalk golden. Yet, the closer they got, the more Sam felt the weight of expectations settle upon him like a thick fog. What if their plans fell apart? What if every step toward progress also uncovered fractures in the community? Over steaming mugs, their conversation turned lively. Sam suddenly felt the spark of possibilities ignite within him, ignited by Mike's infectious enthusiasm. They sketched rough ideas on napkins, concepts flaring into life: community gardens, art projects, workshops, all rooted in collaboration and hope, but beneath the shared laughter and brightening dreams, an unsettling thought nudged at Sam. What if those dreams came with consequences? For every good intention, there was always a risk, a chance of failure waiting just around the corner. Who would be there to pick up the pieces if things went wrong? "Hey, you okay?" Mike's voice pulled Sam from his thoughts. "You seem a million miles away." "Just thinking," Sam replied, a frown creeping back. "This isn't just about us anymore. It's about the whole town. If we do this, we need to do it right." "Well, we will," Mike said, placing a reassuring hand on Sam's shoulder. "We're in this together. You'll see. We'll create good things, I promise." As they exited the cafe, Sam's heart raced with the possibility. But as he stood on the threshold of change, he couldn't shake the feeling of impending storms that as they ventured forward, darker clouds could loom just beyond their sight. What impact would they truly have? Would they unite the town, or would they inadvertently widen the gaps that divided it? Those questions pricked at him, waiting to be answered, and with every step forward, they echoed in his mind. What decisions would they face, and what sacrifices might be needed to make this idea flourish? The path ahead shimmered with promise and peril, and Sam's heart pounded as he recognized the truth of it all. This was only the beginning. Who and what would they encounter as they embarked on this journey together? The air was electric with potential, yet Sam felt a heaviness inside him as he and Mike stepped off the curb and into the square. Children raced around, giggling as their parents chatted in clusters, some lingering under the glow of street lamps. It was a small town scene buoyed by camaraderie, yet Sam's heart continued to constrict. Would their plans resonate with these people or just create more noise that would drown out their actual needs? "Let us walk it out," Mike proposed, pulling Sam along. "Talking it out, I mean. We can hit all the right notes together." As they strode through the square, Sam admired their picturesque surroundings, the charming brick buildings with their shingled roofs, the quaint shops filled with trinkets that reflected the town's history. Yet his mind was racing, running a marathon of possibilities and consequences. "Do you ever think about what can happen when you put an idea out there?" Sam asked suddenly, his voice quiet yet urgent. "What if people don't connect with what we're trying to do?" Mike paused, a frown marring his carefree demeanor. "Sam, you're overthinking it again. Yeah, not everyone will agree. But that's part of conversation, right? It doesn't mean we fail if we get some pushback." "I suppose," Sam sighed, feeling the struggle of wanting to lead while fearing the fallout. He was caught between the hope of awakening enthusiasm in the community and the anxiety of the complex dynamics involved. They turned down a narrow alley, the shadows deepening, and the echoes of laughter faded behind them. It was a literal and metaphorical journey deeper into uncertainty, the night creeping in. The unfolding of their plans felt monumental, an intricate tapestry waiting for them to sew their threads. "Look, what if we set up a meeting, an open forum?" Mike suggested. "Let people bring their ideas, their concerns. Think of it as a kickoff to inspire involvement. If we're going to do this, we'll need those voices." Sam chewed his bottom lip, letting the proposition marinate. An open forum. It could be an opportunity for unity, but it could also be a divisive battleground filled with unmet expectations. "What if they hate our ideas?" he countered. "Then we pivot and learn. It's not about having all the right answers. It's about initiating the conversation," Mike shot back. "And hey, if they hate it, maybe that's good too. It gives us a chance to really hear what the community wants." Sam felt a flicker of hope. The thought of genuine interactions filled with heartfelt conversations sparked warmth in his chest. Maybe Mike was on to something. People wanted to be heard. This could ignite a collaborative spirit, maybe even heal some rifts. As they passed under a streetlight, illuminating their path, Sam could see the fervor in Mike's eyes. "We just need one to start. One idea that could bring everyone together. Imagine if we could unite rather than divide." He chuckled softly. "You sure have a way of making everything sound possible." They rounded the corner and ended up at the local park. The cool breeze caressed their faces, refreshing and full of life. Already, Sam could see signs of community interest in the form of a makeshift stage, remnants of a recent event scattered about. "What if we host a community day?" Mike suggested, throwing his hands up as if imagining grand banners. "An event where everyone can share, sign up for projects. We could start planting the seeds right here and right now." Sam's pulse quickened. It was a bold idea, one that resonated deep within him. A moment of clarity like his own personal sunrise, pushing away the dark clouds. This could be their moment to connect. "Let us do it," he said firmly, a grin breaking through his earlier worries. "Let us set it up and see what blossoms." As they exchanged plans under the twinkling stars, the exhilaration mixed with the weight of what lay ahead began to feel like a challenge he could rise to. Yet, even as they filled the air with laughter and possibilities, Sam couldn't shake the gnawing fear that great expectations often trail behind great ideas, but something else hummed in the air, a promise that this could be the beginning of something beautiful. What would become of their vision? How would the town react to their outreach? Would they rally together or fall apart in the wake of challenges? The night was thick with questions, and answers lingered just out of reach, waiting to unfold. The day of the community event finally arrived, and the sun broke through the clouds, casting a golden hue over the park. Sam stood at the entrance, his heart racing like an engine ready to roar. He looked around, taking in the colorful banners dancing in the breeze and the excitement radiating from families arriving with bright smiles. Finally, they had made it. This was the moment he had envisioned all along. Look at this turnout. Mike joined him, a wide grin lighting up his face. I can't believe so many people showed up. Sam's eyes darted through the crowd, spotting familiar faces mingling with newcomers. The energy buzzed like electricity, and it felt like the whole town was unified in this single-purpose change. As the event kicked off, Sam took the microphone, his voice steady but filled with anticipation. Welcome, everyone. Today is about all of us. It's a chance to share ideas, connect, and, most importantly, dream big together. Cheers erupted around him, and he could feel their excitement. It grounded him even more. Families gathered around tables, sketching out visions for community spaces, sharing laughter and ideas. Sam watched, his heart swelled. This was the spark they needed, the unity he had long hoped to create, but a shadow fell when Louise approached him, her expression stern. Sam, she said, her arms crossed. I hope you know that not everyone is here to celebrate. There are still concerns to address. Her tone was cautionary, but he could see the glimmer of respect in her eyes, a small step forward. I do understand. But today is for listening too, he replied earnestly. Let us find common ground instead of focusing on fears. We can shape this together. She nodded, albeit hesitantly, which gave him a glimmer of hope. As the hours rolled on, people shared their thoughts, some hesitant, others brimming with enthusiasm. Sam made mental notes, listening intently, eager to weave these new ideas into the fabric of their vision. A local farmer suggested a community garden, while a high school student proposed mural projects that celebrated their town's history. Each suggestion layered onto his own initial sketches, bridging the gap between aspiration and action, but the real breakthrough came when Mike stood up, his voice echoing across the gathering. We believe in this town, and we want this to work. But to do so, we need all of you, your input, your voice. Noise erupted as hands shot up, people shouting out their thoughts, which fed the momentum further, and then, an unexpected voice from the back broke through the clutter. I've been skeptical, but I want to help. Sam turned to see one of the more distant townsfolk, a woman who had never appeared at any previous meetings, stepping up. If we don't try, we might miss something great. Hope ignited in Sam's chest. One by one, others echoed her sentiments, unfolding their willingness to stand behind their dream. They united under the banner of possibility. The air was thick with laughter, chatter, and hope. When the event wrapped up, and as the crowd slowly dispersed, Sam felt light as a feather. They hadn't just shared ideas, they had unshackled them, and the weight of expectation was lifting. With every passing moment, he absorbed the warmth of camaraderie, a powerful cocktail of support festering into hope. Can you believe this? Mike exclaimed, clapping Sam on the back. We did it. They're ready to embrace change. Sam smiled, though a twinge of anxiety still lingered. Yeah, but this was just the beginning. What do we do next? His thoughts drifted to the next council meeting, the importance of what lay ahead. They needed a solid plan, one that would transform their dreams into something tangible, but as his gaze swept over the field, he saw people still engaged, jotting down ideas, their eyes filled with zeal. That newfound spirit sparked a flame inside him, igniting the realization that together, collectively, they could find answers to any challenges. The foundation had been laid not just for a project, but for something deeper. They weren't just rebuilding the town, they were rebuilding their community, restoring those ties that had once felt frayed and distant. In this moment, Sam knew that nothing could hold them back now. As they packed up the last banners and gathered their sketches, Sam caught Louise's eye. She approached slowly, her expression softened. You've done well today, Sam. You brought the community together. Thanks, Louise. I couldn't have done this without everyone's support. This is ours to shape, he replied, filled with genuine emotion. She nodded, a spark of acknowledgement passing between them. Let us ensure we build something lasting together. Promise me we'll keep the lines of communication open. Absolutely, he said, clasping her hand. Let us do this. As they stepped out from under the sprawling branches of the park, sunlight pouring through the leaves, Sam felt a sense of purpose wash over him. He was no longer that uncertain kid who had picked up tools to carry the weight of his family. Now he was a man leading a movement built on dreams, laughter, and collaboration. This was at the moment they had all been waiting for. The community was no longer just a backdrop to their lives, it was alive, breathing, and thriving, transforming with every idea voiced and every hand joined. Together, they were writing a new chapter in their town's story. And as he looked toward the horizon, he saw not just potential, but a bright future unfolding. Hope wasn't just a whisper anymore, it was a roar, and Sam was ready to lead them all into that new dawn. This is the moment. You need to subscribe now. Hit that bell for all notifications so you don't miss any updates on this uplifting journey. Leave a like now to show your support and feed the algorithm to help us grow. We want to hear from you. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible transformation. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this power of community. Your support makes all the difference.